This was a film where I felt like James Cameron was utilizing Arnold's comedic relief all the time.
See, this is the problem with terrorists. They're really inconsiderate when it comes to people's schedules. Could you press the button for the top floor, please?
Drive-By Movies here. My name is James.
My name is Blaise.
And never have I ever seen James Cameron and Arnold Schwarzenegger's classic True Lies.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
It's a Soviet Mirv 6 from an SS-22N launch vehicle.
I married Rambo.
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Have you ever killed anyone?
Yeah, but they were all bad.
True Lies.
What can I say? I'm a spy.
How dare you forget Jamie Lee Curtis, James? Such an iconic duo in this film. And if you guys haven't heard of James Cameron's True Lies, it's basically about a fearless globetrotting terrorist battling secret agent that has his life turned upside down when he discovers his wife might be having an affair with a used car salesman while terrorists smuggle nuclear warheads into the United States. Such an outlandish premise, and I think that's part of what makes this movie absolutely so fun. But we're not here to talk about why I like this movie. We're here to talk about your first time watching this movie. This is your first time watching it, so what'd you think about it?
So it's been a while since we've had like an action movie. I think our last one was the one with Sylvester Stallone that we watched. What was the name of that one again, Blaise, that you chose?
Tango and Cash.
Tango and Cash, correct, yeah. Which that was a fun one. And I also liked the other buddy cop 48 Hours that you chose. So I was like, oh, it's time that I choose like a cop FBI agent movie or CIA agent thingy. And I mean, we watched Titanic last year. That was a big James Cameron movie I've never seen. And now officially I've seen every James Cameron movie. This isn't like his highest regarded one, of course, but it's still one that like got a lot of great reviews, got a few Academy Award nominations. I believe Jamie Lee Curtis won a Saturn Award for Best Actress. Kudos for that. And but overall, I just thought it was okay. I hope I don't disappoint some people, but I think I just saw this movie too late in my life now. I think I went in with too high hopes. It wasn't James Cameron at his best, and it wasn't the Arnold action movie I was hoping for. My favorite Arnold movies are Total Recall and Commando, the over-the-topness of those movies, like even Predator also. But this is actually done very well. I was surprised how well Arnold was acting in this movie. Plot-wise, it's still pretty good. James Cameron is actually having fun with this movie, and it's still very well done. But it's good overall, but it's none of these two larger than life people at their best, though, which is unfortunate, I'd say.
I will say, I feel like it's at Arnold at the kind of apex of his career, at least. And that's what makes this movie, I felt like, more fun than some of the other movies. I know you enjoy Commando and the aspects of those where it's just balls to the wall, all out action type of thing. But I don't think, even in those kind of early Arnold movies, I don't think they were really the writers or directors at that time were so cognizant of how funny Arnold could be. This was a film where I felt like James Cameron was utilizing Arnold's comedic relief all the time. My favorite scene has to be when Arnold's chasing this terrorist on a horse. He steals another police horse and then he's chasing on it, and the guy's outrunning him on a motorcycle through hotels, and just also I don't know, it's just so funny. A lot of these scenes and Arnold's one-liners were killing me throughout the movie, where I felt like it's what made this movie just such a good popcorn flick back in the day, and it's, I think, still to this day, this is a great popcorn movie. It reminds me of a lot of the movies that nowadays are, mainstream kind of action films, and people love the comedy aspects of those movies. This is one where I felt like constantly they're giving you one-liners, and it's almost like jokes per minute in a way. Instead of nowadays, I feel like sometimes they break up some serious scenes with comedy. I felt like this wasn't breaking up serious stuff, but the whole movie was just a hit. It was just a riot. I was laughing my butt off.
I'm glad that is true though. I'll like because whoever would have thought that Arnold could be a funny guy. I mean, I enjoyed Jingle All the Way as a kid. I loved that movie and his weird comedic timing. I liked it because he's not a comedian, but for some reason he's just funny in that movie. And I don't know if it's just because you're watching Arnold to get hit a lot and a lot of weird slapstick humor. But with this though, you're right. His timing is actually pretty good with this. Like a lot of his one-liners, I enjoy him for like in movies like Commando and Predator because of how over the top and dumb they are and stuff. I'm just like, oh, this is cheesy and dorky and stuff. But then just seeing him kick ass the whole time, it just made it fun. But this movie is actually done a little bit more like black humor-esque. Like, I wouldn't say black humor-esque, but like it felt like an original kind of Marvel movie. I'd say actually this is kind of what Marvel movies always try to accomplish: have serious thriller vibes, have the intensity, the good acting, but also add some fun quips in between there and stuff. And I would say it worked well. Like I said, I think I just went in too high hopes because I went in watching movies back to back to back watching this movie. I watched Synchronic, which we reviewed on Fresh Releases earlier this week. Then I went into, we had Blaise and I and a couple of friends had a movie night online. We watched Psycho Gorman. Def check that out. That's like over the top rated R Power Rangers-esque style movie. Then I went into this and I was just like, oh my God, this is not what I expected whatsoever and stuff. Like those are three very different movies that I went back to back to back on and stuff. So
you had a wild triple feature there.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's ever done that with those movies, probably.
Yeah, that's the triple threat right there. Yeah.
Yeah. Starring Michael J. White.
Yeah. But no, like it was fun. Jamie Lee Curtis is great in this movie, but I guess when she kind of makes the revelation that her son's a CIA agent, it like I was just like, what is he doing to her? This is horrible. Like this is a weird role play scenario. Like I kind of like got tripped out like when he was like ordering her to like do stuff, but like she didn't know it was him and stuff. Like I always know that that's like the iconic scene and stuff like that everyone keeps bringing up about Jamie Lee Curtis. Like, oh, you haven't seen Jamie Lee Curtis in True Lies. I'm like, I mean, I remember her from Halloween, of course, and Prom Night, but like now I got to see it and stuff, and I didn't know the context of the scene, and while watching I was like, this is a little awkward, kind of like the setup that they have, like this is like a bizarre situation to find yourselves in. And I love the idea of the used car salesman with Bill Paxton. That was kind of hilarious too. Like thinking about it, there are a lot more comedic moments than I actually remember. Like I thought it was all Tom Arnold being funny, but now that I actually think about it, like the script is actually kind of clever. Yeah
I honestly think that something that I do miss is like Tom Arnold. I don't know who the Tom Arnold type character is at this point in time, but I always loved Tom Arnold's, comedic relief in all these action movies that he was in. Because we saw him recently in I don't know, is it Romeo Must Die or no? I think he might be in Romeo Must Die, but he was also in
Cradle to the Grave.
Cradle to the Grave, yeah, and he was absolutely hilarious. Like he's like the star of that movie. He's absolutely hilarious because he has to pick up all the slack that DMX is dropping. So where in this film, like he was just playing off, pretty much everyone in the cast, and he's so funny. Like I do kind of really miss seeing Tom Arnold or that comedic relief character that has the same gravitas that he kind of brings to this role of Gibbs.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I was a big Punisher comics reader growing up as a kid. When that first Punisher movie came out, I really wanted to check out Punisher comics, or not the first one from the 80s. I forgot there's a Dolph Lundgren one, but I meant the Thomas Jane one. And I know in the comics, like it was always common for him to have like a side character who helped him out, who's always hanging out in a van telling him like, watch out for this, watch out for that, let me hack into this, like use this weapon and stuff. His name is Microchip in those movies, and here he was in this movie. What was his name in this one again? He had like some kind of nickname.
I think it's Agent Gibbs.
Gibbs, right? Yeah, that's such a side character name, like Gibbs, I need your help and stuff. And like Arnold says it with like a lot of oomph and stuff.
And even I know a lot of people have always kind of been expecting a sequel of this movie because the end credit. They even have a Marvel end credit scene in this film, which is funny, but it's basically Gibbs saying like, next time you guys are going to be in the van. Like he's tired of being in the van throughout the whole movie. So maybe people thought there would be a Secret Agent Gibbs movie with Arnold kind of playing second fiddle as well as Jamie Lee Curtis to this Tom Arnold character. I don't know if James Cameron obviously would ever have that in mind, but if somebody else might have wanted to direct it, I think the ship's kind of sailed on that one, though. I think too much time has passed.
Right. Yeah, I'd say so too. Like, I mean, as much as I love them and stuff, like I love seeing that they are still rebooting. Like Jamie Lee Curtis is still in these reboot sequels of Halloween. Arnold's been in every single reboot of Terminator that's been out the past decade. There's been, 3 reboots now in the past decade. Kudos to him. They both look fantastic, and they're both great actors, but I agree. I think the ship has sailed for this one and stuff. Like, just leave it alone as is. Like, it's sad that it never worked out, because I really love Cameron and Arnold's, relationship and stuff. Like, just the idea that, it started with Terminator, kept him along for Terminator 2 and how big that was, and still made True Lies with him and stuff. Like, a lot of people always say, oh, Terminator's Arnold's best performance because it's a robotic character and he's a terrible actor. Like, no, Arnold's a fine actor. I just think you need to find what he's good at and stuff. And Cameron really was the director to really figure out how best to utilize Arnold.
Yeah, sure. And if you want to see a better robotic Arnold performance, check out Hercules in Manhattan.
I still haven't checked it out, but I've heard some fun things.
Yeah, I think it's his first movie, and I don't even think he speaks English throughout the whole movie. Like, he's still learning English or something. I don't know. It's a funny movie. But yeah, I think if you guys haven't seen True Lies, I think there's a lot of fun to be had. And I do kind of feel like you hit the nail on the head with saying that this is somewhat like a blueprint for a lot of the MCU movies, because I do feel like a lot of their movies do try and do essentially this same kind of style of movie where it's so funny at times, but also the plot isn't, too crazy within the same world that they've built, and there's a lot of action in it. So I definitely agree with that. And I think that this is such a good thing to be a template, because the practical effects in this movie are awesome. The story, it still is kind of wild, but at the same time, it doesn't seem as outlandish as some other films, especially from that time. So, I mean, you guys should check out True Lies. What are you waiting for? Just pause this video, go watch True Lies, guys. Yeah,
I give it credit, honestly, just for the movie poster. It literally just has Arnold's face and he's carrying a gun, and they just knew you were gonna go see it and stuff. Like, I'm sure somewhere on the poster it says a James Cameron film, and that probably helped also, but just that really cracks me up and stuff. Just that was at the height of their career, was a box office success. And I really wish I saw this movie as a kid, though, because I guarantee it would have been one of my favorites. I remember other friends put it on once, and I did see the intro to it when I was younger and stuff, and they were just reliving the nostalgia of how much they enjoyed this movie as a kid. And now I wish I had that and stuff. But yeah, if you haven't seen it, check it out through our Amazon affiliate link in our description box below. That's a great way to help us out. And come back here, leave it in us the comments, and let us know what you thought about the movie.
Definitely. And guys, go ahead, if you haven't already, smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, and click that notification bell to get all our latest updates.
So if you can't get enough of us here on YouTube, we're also on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. Check us out on all our links down below. Follow us on all 3 of those social media apps. And that's going to conclude this week's episode of Never Have I Ever. Tune in next week for a brand new video.